Haile Selassie, Biography, Family, and Rastafarian Religion. Birth and Early Life. Ethiopia's region of Hara is home to the village of Eje Goro, where Haile Selassie was born. Ras Makonnen, Walde, Mikhail, and Wezero Yeshimebet Ali Baba Jifar were his parents. Abba Samuel Walde Kahin and Dr. Vitalin homeschooled Selassie throughout most of his early years. He received the title of Count de Jesmash, which means Commander of the Gate, when he became 13 years old. He was appointed governor of Selale in 1906 following the passing of his father. He was appointed governor of various Sidamo regions a year later. In this video, we'll be looking at Haile Selassie's biography and how the Rastafarian religion came about. But first, if you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of our videos. Meaning of his name. Rastafari Makonnen is Haile Selassie's birth name. Ras is an Amharic term that signifies head or prince. He was occasionally referred to as Lich Tafari Makonnen. Lich means kid or small one in Amharic. One who is cherished and feared is what Tafari signifies. Marriage and children. He wedded Menen Asval, an Ambazel princess, and the daughter of Jantira of Ambazel and Woizero Sehin Michael at the age of 19. Menen was also the niece of Emperor Iyasu V, who was the grandson of Emperor Menelik II. Princess Denaknwerk, Crown Prince Aswal Wozen, Princess Zenebewerk, Princess Chihai, Princess Makonnen, and Prince Haile Selassie are the 6 children that Tafari Makonnen Haile Selassie had with Menen Asval. Haile Selassie, regency and early reforms. Menelik II passed away in 1931, and his grandson Lich Yasu succeeded him as emperor. Lil Yasu's reign was rife with scandals upon scandals. This made numerous nobles in the royal court, including Habji Gironis, referred the crown to be close to Tafari as a result of his extremely progressive reforms as governor. He was awarded the title of Ras. Tafari was promoted to the positions of crown prince and heir apparent. He served as regnant plenipotentiary during Empress Zeuditu's rule, making him in essence the de facto ruler. He then launched a number of administrative reforms in that capacity. In the years to come, he quickly implemented a wide range of social, educational, and economic reforms in an effort to modernize his fairly backward nation. He also took the brave move to eventually bring an end to the practice of slavery in the empire. On the international front, he worked very hard to secure Ethiopia's admission to the League of Nations in 1923. Rise to the throne. Numerous nobles in the royal court, including Habte Giyorgis, preferred the crown to be close to the Tafari as a result of his extremely progressive reforms as governor. He was awarded the title of Ras, which means prince. Tafari was able to strengthen his hold on the empire thanks to Gugsa Wele's defeat and death in the conflict. On November 2, 1930, Tafari was crowned Emperor of Ethiopia at the Cathedral of St. George in Addis Ababa. The royal house spent about $3 million on Tafari's coronation event, which was attended by dignitaries and kings from all over the world. He was crowned King of Kings of Ethiopia during the ceremony. Haile, the reigning name, means power of, while Selassie means Trinity. Therefore, Haile Selassie's name translates to power of the Trinity. Ethiopia's first reigning constitution. As soon as he assumed the throne, Haile Selassie tried to put an end to the old guard members who resisted him. On July 16, 1931, he published Ethiopia's first reading constitution in an effort to carry out his goal. The constitution also established a bicameral legislature, but the emperor and the nobles still held the majority of the power. Selassie hoped that Ethiopia's transition to complete democracy, where the people could choose their own leaders, would be facilitated by the constitution. Accomplishments of Emperor Haile Selassie. During his rule, Ethiopia advanced from a very underdeveloped nation to one that exported about 30,000 tons of coffee. Many of the reforms Haile Selassie implemented were modeled after Western institutions. He made significant investments in the nation's social and economic infrastructure, which fueled additional expansion. Emperor Haile Selassie's goal was to construct a strong centralized administrative organization with him at the forefront of affairs. By thus doing, he was able to weaken the powers of the feudal chiefs. For example, he removed the civil servants on the payroll of the feudal chiefs and placed them on a centralized payroll system. Selassie encouraged the founding of the Organization of African Unity in the early 1960s because he was a strong proponent of creating a sort of United States of Africa. His official abolition of slavery in the nation in August 1942 is another remarkable accomplishment. In order to bring in the necessary foreign direct investments, the emperor also depended on some international advisors. Italy's invasion of Ethiopia in 1935. In 1932, Haile Selassie seized the Sultanate of Jimma upon the passing of Sultan Abba Jifar II. Benito Mussolini, the fascist dictator of Italy, saw Ethiopia's expanding influence and economy in the Horn of Africa as a danger to Italy's imperialistic goals. In order to atone for its failure in the First Italo-Abyssinian War, Italy was eager to conquer the Ethiopian monarchy. Benito Mussolini annihilated the Ethiopian soldiers with both his superior armaments and illegal chemical weapons. Before traveling to Jerusalem, Emperor Haile Selassie and his family escaped into French Somaliland. He handed command of the defense of Addis Ababa to his cousin Ras Imru Haile Selassie. Despite his impassioned address to the League of Nations in Geneva on June 30, 1936, in which he pleaded with the world to act and put an end to the bloodshed in Ethiopia, very few League of Nations members imposed sanctions on Italy. At this time in history, the League had already proven to be a weak organization. However, many anti-fascist activists all over the world were motivated by Haile Selassie's speech. Benito Mussolini, the fascist dictator of Italy, used chemical weapons against Ethiopians, resulting in the deaths of tens of thousands of people. Emperor Selassie was forced into exile in May 1936 after the Ethiopian army was decisively defeated. Italy created an empire from 1936 and 1941 known as the Italian East Africa, which included Ethiopia, Italian Somaliland, and Eritrea. The Allied forces did not support Ethiopia until Italy allied itself with the Axis powers during World War II. Haile Selassie and the Allied forces in the Horn of Africa had been successful in compelling the Italians to submit by May 5, 1941. The 1955 Constitution. His 1955 Constitution, the nation of Ethiopia's first written constitution, contributed to the establishment of the electoral system for the lower house of parliament. Taxes and ministerial screening were two other things that the parliament had some degrees of control over. The constitution made an effort to promote human rights and establish an independent judiciary. Despite such admirable reform initiatives, Haile Selassie remained a significant political and economic force. Decline in opposition. Haile Selassie immediately established a new government after World War II and carried on from where he left off before the conflict broke out. He was able to achieve a United Nations General Resolution that permitted Eritrea and Ethiopia to form a federation on December 2, 1950. After repeatedly pressing the international world, while Ethiopia was handed power over Eritrea's economy, defense, and foreign policy, Eritrea was permitted to have its own constitution. Nationalist groups in Eritrea began agitating for independence in 1961. In retaliation, the monarch dissolved the federation and shut down Eritrea's legislature. There was escalating discontent with his administration on the streets of Addis Ababa. Students and several army members made up a large portion of the opposition. The public's annoyance was caused by excessive reliance on the military, aristocracy, and oligarchs. Many criticized his bad land reforms, saying they impoverished the most vulnerable members of society. Overthrow of Emperor Selassie. As Ethiopia began to engage vehemently with Eritrean rebels and Muslim pastoralists who felt repressed and excluded, the seeds of unrest had already begun to germinate. The emperor moved swiftly to put an end to the disturbance and re-establish order in Ethiopia. Ethiopia had a significant deal of unease due to the Eritrean rebellion. The North's hunger and drought, which killed tens of thousands of lives, added to the nation's troubles. A small group of senior non-commissioned officers and subordinate officers rebelled in 1974. They continued with a coup d'etat which originated in Asmara despite a 33% pay raise for the army. On February 27, 1974, the government of Akilu Habte Wold was dismissed. Workers went on a mass strike as a result of the political unrest to express their growing displeasure with the emperor. Major Mengistu Haile Mariam served as the committee's chair, and it moved quickly to overthrow the emperor and the country's institutions. On November 23, 1974, a number of high-ranking members of Emperor Haile Selassie's inner circle and government were executed without a trial in what came to be known as Ethiopia's Bloody Saturday. How did Haile Selassie die? The circumstances surrounding the long-reigning emperor of Ethiopia's demise are still a little hazy. On August 28, 1975, less than a year after being placed under house arrest, Emperor Haile Selassie passed away at his palace. The emperor, according to the military authorities of the moment, passed away due to the entirely natural reasons. They assert that Haile Selassie experienced respiratory failure as a result of a prostate procedure he underwent a few months before. There have been allegations that the military leadership ordered his strangulation killing. After the Derg dictatorship was overthrown, these claims started to circulate. Numerous high-ranking military officers were accused of being involved in the emperor's killing, following a 1994 court probe. On November 5, 2000, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church gave him a befitting funeral. The funeral was attended by a number of followers of the Rastafarian movement, including Rita Marley, the wife of legendary reggae musician Bob Marley, who made reference to Haile Selassie in his posthumously released song Iron Lion Zion. Rastafarian movement. Rastafarianism, which has its root mostly in Jamaica, is a religious and social movement that venerates Emperor Haile Selassie as the embodiment of God on earth. He is held in high regard as the Messiah, sent to free all of Africa and the African diaspora. Rastafarianism first emerged in the 1930s, concurrent with the coronation of Haile Selassie as Emperor of Ethiopia, and was heavily influenced by Marcus Garvey's African Redemption movement. Former Jamaican Prime Minister Michael Manley, musician Bob Marley, and his wife Rita Marley were all notable members of the movement. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed our coverage of Haile Selassie's biography and how the Rastafarian religion came about. Please like, comment, and also share the video with your friends.